Hello, everybody. How are you doing? My name is Steve Ward. I'm the CEO and founder of Future in Focus Dreamcatcher Enterprises. We've created a software called Dreamcatcher, and the problem that we're tackling with Dreamcatcher is it stems from my own personal experience in education. Whereas I was a child left behind who struggled in every subject, in every class, with every teacher. I had a multitude of teachers who made me feel like I wouldn't be successful because I didn't learn like the other students. And this is the case with a lot of students who have a stark disconnect. And you can advance the slide, please. A stark disconnect or a lack of intrinsic motivation because they don't feel like they belong in a classroom. There is no academic achievement bridge of a gap to real world success. And if you're not successful or good at education, you start feeling a little bit left out. And that was my case, depression, lack of motivation, and a number of other things that come along with that. The statistics support that we have a large number of students today in that dropout category and across the board that are dropping out for a lack of intrinsic motivation, not understanding why they're there in school and what they're getting and how that translates to some sort of real world success. And the only things in place currently right now are assessments that are ineffective. And as everyone knows here, the federal government, as far as workforce development is concerned, has now required that every workforce development product actually be evidence-based software. So right about high school for me, and you can advance the slide, I started to push back against the narrative that if I'm not the smartest or the brightest, but I still have value, I was able to start transforming my mind from the thought process of being insignificant and not having value to having, even if it's the shortest or smallest inkling of what my value would be and how I can change that value into a value that I can give to society in return for what I want from it. With that small little thought process, I was able to change my mindset, which translated into having value and confidence in myself. And I stumbled across a process that helped me discover my purpose. And my purpose and value became very, very clear at a very early age in high school, and was able to choose a career path based on the not just my strengths, interests, and personality traits, but the purpose that I was able to discover within myself. And with that process, I was able to get hired in my first part of my career or my first part of my purpose by the age of 20 as a full-time firefighter. And from that point, I developed a software with this process that I discovered that helps every student discover their purpose and their value and align that purpose and value with the most appropriate career path so that no student will never leave school or graduate from high school without understanding exactly who they are or have a better idea of who they are and what career paths would be the best scenario for them. We are evidence-based. We're the first company that has what we call aspirational data, where we're able to show proof through charts, graphs, and statistics, but also work samples of what the students are learning. We are bootstrapped over 500,000 to this point thus far. We're looking for 1.5 million in straight equity or a bridge loan because we have been selling. Some of our customers are Goodwill and a multitude of different school districts. We've had over 6,000 students go through Dreamcatcher, and teachers are replacing Naviance and Career Zone and all of our big competitors because the first step to workforce development should be a person having self-actualization and understanding who they are before they're starting to go down the different career paths. It's like Jim Collins say, we got to get the right people on the bus before the bus can properly move down the road. So thank you for your time and listening to my pitch.
Thanks, Steve. Do any of our panelists want to jump in here? Steve, do you have a specific question? If not, I have one I can pose.
You know, I do have, yeah, I'd rather hear the one that you pose after listening to some of the other questions today. I think that, it'd be better if it comes from you. So thank you.
Okay, sure. So you hear about investors looking to invest in technology that makes a significant social impact. How do you find what social impact areas investors are investing in so that you can align yourself with the right of investors? Additionally, is the projected turnaround time of the financial investment the determining factor in deciding to invest in a company, or is it the size of the impact?
I'll jump in here. So impact investing is sort of a growing orientation for investors, but it's used kind of fluidly. You'll have impact investing at a private foundation, Lumina Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, Ford Foundation, where they're making investments in, and there's not an expectation in many of those instances of an economic return above, returning, the capital that was invested. In some cases, not even that, but then you'll see more fluidly other organizations. Talking to a venture capitalist of a very well-known fund here, he envisions himself an impact investor, but he's also looking for traditional 25 to 30% returns. So I think it's really important for you to understand that even if somebody uses a little bit of the guise of an impact investor, there's an expectation of a return hurdle, which is, slightly, maybe it's a 15% return, slightly below market. You say, well, that's below market or what they expect, but then you need to know that most venture portfolios only return 12% on average, which is below investing in the stock market. So anyway, it's very hard to answer your question there. To identify, other than doing your research, there is not a go-to place of just saying, here are the impact investors and here what they look for. It's really up to you to do that that research, and you're gonna have to talk to a lot of people. So that's a little bit on sort of like impact investing and how you get there. I think it's important for you to ask, what type of return hurdle, and all of you folks who are on the phone should be sort of thinking about, what return hurdle can I reasonably expect to return? And because all of the investors are most of the investors are going to ask that question of you, or they'll be doing that analysis on their own. But I forgot. So that was the first part. Maybe other people can chime into some of your other questions.
Yeah, Dr. Coleman or Burge, do you have anything to add as well?
I'll let Dr. Coleman go.
Okay. You want me to repeat the question as well?
No, I'm good. I was just going to say that this is out of my wheelhouse. It's not a 0 or a 1. Digital, social impact, and all that stuff. I commend you though for taking that stance though, founder. And but it's a complicated question because there is so much gray when it comes to social. That's why I like math. It's either right or wrong.
Right.
So hey, Steve, this is Berge. It sounds like the need or the problem, in a sense, that you're addressing, I can acknowledge. I definitely agree that need is serious. It's probably growing, or at least it's being recognized in greater numbers. So I think I think you're on to certainly a problem that the industry is facing as schools are being challenged in ways to expand what the definition of schooling is, and to address sort of, I think, that space of social emotional learning, which I think, if I understand a little bit of what you're driving towards, I think that is a smart area to focus on, because I think you'll have a growing clientele and a growing recognition amongst school leaders that it's something that they have to focus on. The idea of attaching and maybe trying to attack these really large entrenched organizations that are working on the career, like, for example, you mentioned Naviance. I know there's a couple, I know that's sort of one of the gorillas in the space, and I know there's other companies that are going after that. And I always felt like, when I started out anyway, I didn't want to try to be this tiny little organization that was attacking this monster thing. I wanted to be this tiny organization going after a space that no one was trying to do anything with. And if I could do it in the shadow, maybe even the protective shadow of a larger solution and a larger system, and speak to how I do something that they don't, and I can plug and play or interoperate or sort of coexist with them safely. I liked that for me, because it was a way for me to go into a space without being a threat to anyone. Because I always felt like this giant organization, if they just turned their elbow and added one little functionality because I'm making some noise in the marketplace, poof, there goes away my whole positioning statement. So I kind of wanted to position myself in a way that says, oh, I complement what this larger system does, or I'm nothing like them. They're great and they do great things. I'm this and I do something different. That was just some thoughts on positioning. I'll offer this to everybody, so I'll offer it to you as well. If this is something you want to talk more about, you're welcome to reach out to me, and glad to speak with you more about it. But I love the space, and I think you're onto something good there.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate
Yeah.
it. And thank you guys for all your questions.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up too on it. I think it's, it's always tough to sell into K-12, really tough. This is a type of tool. I used to run job boards too, right? That every job board kind of wants, right? To help people, help them figure out. It's like the number one question. Everyone's trying to figure out, what do I want to do? And there's very few solutions that can do that effectively. And so I think you can find other opportunities to sell this in. Goodwill is a good example of that. Obviously, you're talking to some higher ed. Yeah, I'm happy to talk offline as well. I'll share my information here at the end, or right now, Ron at lowpostventures.com. But I'll put that in a chat. I think it's Southern New Hampshire University bought a company, a nonprofit called LRNG. I would check them out. LRNG has built some interesting tools around helping people understand, more immersive kind of engagement around certain careers. The woman that runs that is very well connected into the whole higher ed, nonprofit K through 12 higher ed space. There may be an opportunity for you to do something with them that might give you a bigger sort of profile and access into some organization.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I look forward to speaking to you guys.